All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA show. So, what I'm going to talk about this is matching your clothes while shopping. I've done small little bits and pieces or talked about this in the past, but a lot of what I talk about is consignment shopping or resale shopping, trying to help men and women save money. Because I do think for the most part, clothes are disposable. Unless it's certain pieces, certain designers, but a lot of clothes you're most likely going to outgrow. You may lose or gain weight. Also, it may go out of style. Also, it's just clothes devalue. It is what it is. That's why you see Goodwills all over the country and even consignment and resale stores, because for the most part, when you buy something at a regular type big box store, curbside mall, or any type of store, when it comes to clothing, most of it's worth probably, especially if you want it a certain amount of time, it's worth probably 90% less than what you paid for it. It is what it is. But I talk about, I should say, when consignment shopping or resale, all you're kind of a lot of times looking for is one or two pieces. Don't think you're a lot of times going to go to a consignment store or resale and get a whole wardrobe. Most likely, a lot of things there aren't going to fit you. They're worn down. They're just not, they don't match, all these different types of things. We're looking for one or two pieces that match with what you have in your closet. We don't want to get whack things that nothing matches, but we're usually, for the most part, going to be lucky per store if we catch two or three things. If you catch five or six, it's amazing. But most likely what I usually see in consignment stores that fit really well or that works for me is one, two, or three pieces per store, if I'm lucky. But here's the deal. What I think people need to really pay attention is, again, what they're buying. Does it match with what I just said earlier a little bit, with what you have at home? Okay, because I see a lot of people find great clothes when resale or consignment shopping. I even go with these men. I go with a lot of guys, even with my girlfriend or other people. They want me to help them. And they'll find a great piece. And I'll be like, that's awesome. It fits. Will it match with anything you have? For starters, if it's black, white, red, if it's a solid, we're pretty good. But if it's a funky pattern, like if it's a mustard, let's say, or a green or some color that's whack, do you have something that matches? Now, I get, again, if you got black pants at home, you may be able to pull it off, or, gray pants or jeans. But a lot of times, also the pattern on there and the sheen of it has to match. So you got to be careful. Now, if you don't, here's the deal. If you find some great consignment clothes that are really affordable, that are really unique, especially if they're high-end, then consider buying some other clothes to match those. So it's not just what's in your closet. You gotta, if you find some great pieces, and I just found this with like a beautiful Ralph Lauren shirt I found, and I'm like, you know what? I mean, I can match it with other things, but I'm like, you know what? I know the perfect type of shorts that will work with this and the color. So that's what I got to go out and buy now again. But I'm looking at things kind of in the distance, in the future, when buying clothes. It's not just buying one-offs. It's also not just going to a store or a mall a lot of times and just, you walk in a store, you're like, just match whatever I have at this point in time. Because a lot of us end up spending a lot of money. And again, if you go to a store and say you spend, $1,500, I want all these shorts, I want these shirts, and I want this. Unless you are at the specific weight that you want to be at, I wouldn't be doing that. Also, you may change your style up. A trend may come in that you like. So boxing yourself in, unless you have the money, if you can spend tons of money, do whatever you want. But if you kind of keep spending a lot of money, say, in one store because you don't want to be bothered, and then you hang on to these clothes for 5-10 years, you could do what you want to do. I just wouldn't recommend it because, again, there's a lot of weight fluctuating with people, a lot of different styles coming in out of play, a lot of different materials. You also may move to another location. You live in Illinois. All of a sudden, you keep spending money there, and you decide to move to Florida. Your whole wardrobe, I'm telling you, for the most part, is going to have to change. Or vice versa. If you're living in Florida, you got to go to Chicago. So be aware of that. You may also start traveling more. So you got to start thinking, wait a minute, if I'm going to travel more, what type of places am I going to travel to? What type of clothes am I going to wear right when traveling? Because I went through that with Canada. And I actually just got burned, and I'm going to wrap it up with this. I went to Nordstrom's Rack, and I usually don't spend a ton of money there. But this time they had a lot of great deals on some great pants. And they had some great deals on a bunch of shirts. And I was going to Canada as often as I was in the United States. So I said, let me buy. I brought 2 different style shoes that were boots because they have great shoes at Nordstrom's Rack, just Nordstrom's in general. And I brought 5 different pairs of pants, which is totally not my style. But I said, you know what? These are going to be warm. They're perfect. They're flexible. They're everything I want. I think I 2 dark blue, 2 gray, maybe 1 black. That's all they had. Fit my waist perfectly. I'm like, I'm just going to get these and call it a day. Brought a few shirts that matched. Got it, and COVID hit. Right? All that, I'm like, when am I going to ever use this now in Florida? I mainly geared up for winter because I wasn't ever gearing up. Well, I was gearing up. I always had 3-piece suits and I had turtlenecks and all that. But more casual wear that can blend with my kind of higher end wear. I finally bit the bullet and said, you know what? I'm sure I'm going to be busy this year. And COVID hit. So I do have these boots. I have 2 boots. I think I've worn only each of them once. I've been wearing the pants even though they're too heavy for the most part for Florida. And I have worn the shirts, but I never got them tailored yet. I kind of wear them under vests. But my point being is, pay attention. Even somebody like myself, I never thought COVID would come in and all of a sudden I wouldn't be working for that, working for or doing what I wasn't doing. Like, it was just like, oh my God, I never expected this. I'm still going to use those clothes in the future because for the most part, my weight, I'm in control of it. I'm not going to be a 34-inch waist and all of a sudden, a 31, let's say, or I'm not going to be a 34 and a 38. So I pay attention to those things. But please pay attention when shopping that you're buying the right clothes that match for the right environment. Okay? You got any questions or comments, hit me up. I'm at masteringselfconfidence.com if you're a guy, or even women I help as well if you need any help with your anything regarding wardrobe to a certain degree. And email me or hit me up through a comment. You could do it on YouTube or on any of my podcasts. So take care, and I wish you nothing but the best.